Picture this. You're 19 years old and have just scored the FA Cup final winner against your biggest rivals, winning the man of the match at Wembley after being one of the best players for the biggest club in the country that season. You are Kobbie Mainoo. Now imagine that you're not playing this player because you don't have Kalvin Phillips. You are Gareth Southgate. Euro 2024 has been absolutely phenomenal. 2 PM, 5 PM, 8 PM, relentless with brilliant games left, right and centre. And then you have England. Gareth Southgate's men have been terribly uninspiring. 2 goals, 4 points, they're essentially through to the knockout stages and will probably top their group, but it has been far from convincing. Players like Phil Foden and Harry Cain have looked nowhere near their best. There seems to be many issues in the system that they are trying to play right now, but the biggest problem has been the makeup of the midfield. Trent Alexander-Arnold has been playing in central midfield alongside Declan Rice because he has a good pass. The Liverpool right back has started in midfield for his club a grand total of 3 times in 322 games. He played there several times for England ahead of the tournament, against the likes of Malta and North Macedonia. It is an experiment that was always going to fail, and it looks like it has. That is no slight on Trent either. He does his best work with runners and from that right hand side, not in the centre of midfield, expecting to progress the play through the thirds. Kobbie Mainoo is quite literally right there. Declan Rice needs someone with capable build-up skills next to him, and Mainoo is shown to have that ability all season at Old Trafford. Adam Wharton is of course another option, but we'll get onto him in a minute. Mainoo played 9 minutes in the opening game and did not appear against Denmark. Conor Gallagher has played around 60 minutes, and that is the problem. Southgate is so insistent on finding someone who's the same as what England have had before. Jordan Henderson and Kalvin Phillips have both been regulars for England under Southgate, but he was essentially forced to leave both players out of the squad this year because their form was quite simply terrible. Henderson spent half of the season in Saudi Arabia, while Phillips was a car crash on loan at West Ham. Trent has started because Southgate wanted to make a ballsy call, but I can already see Gallagher starting in the next games, as he's similar to the players that the manager trusted so much beforehand. He's a workhorse. The problem is that you have 2 of the biggest midfield talents around on the bench, and they are both the exact type of profile that Southgate's team have been missing for years. Why did England not get over the line against Italy in Euro 2020? Was it a lack of effort? No, it was because they could not control any aspects of the game against the likes of Jorginho in Italy's midfield. You now have that player who can help in that aspect, and you're ignoring him? We all heard the interview after the Denmark game. We don't have a natural replacement for Kalvin Phillips. No, you have an upgrade in almost every aspect of the game. This isn't putting a square peg in a round hole because a player is really talented. This is a really talented player that you and the entire country have been crying out for. And let's not forget that this isn't the first time that Gareth Southgate seems to be underestimating Kobbie Mainoo. I mean, during that March international break, it was so obvious that England needed to test him out and see how good he really was and how he'd gel with the England squad. But he was not included. Southgate quite literally said that it was too early for him, and he went back on his decision a week later after he watched Kobbie Mainoo boss Liverpool. And then what happened? Mainoo got the man of the match in his full England debut. And now it just seems like Southgate is underestimating him once again. Now, I know there might be some people watching this video and almost agreeing with every point I've made so far, but are saying that it should be Wharton instead of Mainoo starting. And I absolutely love Adam Wharton as a player, and I would say to be starting him if we did not have Mainoo. But the United midfielder offers a very important blend which you have to consider. And this almost goes with one of Southgate's biggest rules. Experience. He values it a lot. That's why Pickford, Maguire, Henderson, Stones are all some of his favourite players. Mainoo and Wharton are both hugely inexperienced in the professional game, compared to many of their peers, and in fact Mainoo has only played 1 season in men's football. Wharton has the experience in the Championship blended with 6 months at Crystal Palace. However, the amount of experience that Mainoo has gained in that 1 season is astronomical. Full Premier League debut away at Goodison Park in front of a fan base that were ready to go to war with the Premier League and anyone in their way. Champions League debut away at Galatasaray. He looked like he was playing in the park in both of those games. 3 huge matches against Liverpool, tick. Big games against Manchester City, tick. Away at West Ham though, a mistake. How did he bounce back? Brilliantly. And then you have the cup final where he scored and received man of the match. What I'm getting at is that while both of these talented midfield players are pretty inexperienced, Mainoo has been in more big pressure games and situations than Wharton and multiple other players in that squad. Being thrown in at the deep end at Manchester United does not always end well for players, and he has never looked fazed. And at a major tournament, you do need talent and form, but you also need someone who won't crumble under pressure, and that is what you'd be getting from Kobbie Mainoo. Whereas I'm not too sure about Adam Wharton, despite his quality. And you also see how players like Declan Rice have praised Mainoo in recent weeks. They both seem to believe that they can work together as a pair, whereas Trent, there were always question marks. Conor Gallagher, there's a clear quality question around him. And Adam Wharton, a brilliant player, but like I mentioned, there's question marks about whether he can handle the pressure. The problem is that I'm not too sure that either one of those talented players are going to start. Southgate has a lot to prove after those first 2 games, and the safe option is to go with Conor Gallagher and hope his team can power through games, which is entirely possible due to the talent in the squad. However, if this team really wants to start showing improvements in this short period, the first step is getting a proper player next to Declan Rice, although there are several other things that definitely need to improve as well.